What's going on, guys? How are you? Buenos dias. Good morning. Today is Wednesday. I hope everybody is okay, blessed, and in good health. This is your boy He-Man coming back at you. And let's get into this video. I want to talk about the so-called ambassadors in the Xbox community that have been getting kicked out, such as Kid Smoove and the ever so usual suspect that he's truly not an Xbox fan, even though he tries to act like he is, Mr. King Thrash. And go check out our brother E-Rock, because he did 2 videos on them that were pretty funny. I just want to speak on it with some other thoughts of my own, and why I think it's justified, and why I think it's not wrong, and why I think that it's not a conspiracy theory or bad. Because you have people out here like Rich Review Tech, Broken Game HD, and a couple of others trying to make videos already, which I already saw, talking about, that Xbox guys have to be tied down to this program and they can't talk bad, and they're getting kicked out because they're trying to say the truth or speak on something that should be said, like when it's not even nowhere near in that status or in that situation. Listen, if I have a company and you work for me, and I ask you to promote our product in a positive light so that people will have the take the time out to check it out and to see if the product is good, and I'm pushing for a good product no matter what the case is, right? But yet, because we have some hurdles and things like maybe, let's say, money issues or distribution issues, and we have to do certain things to readjust, that does not mean that I want my product to be bad, and that does not mean that I want my product that I want it to fail. I mean, it makes no logical business sense that you're spending millions and billions of dollars in the case of Microsoft so that they can have a product to fail and to be not good in quality. Only a person with no logic and brains would think this way, right? And now there's this claim of Xbox civil war within the community when there's no Xbox civil war. No. It's real Xbox guys that have been there from day one, like Mr. 100, right? Check out his latest video he did when I didn't get to see it yet, but it's about talking about the Civil War stuff in the community. People like myself or E-Rock or, that have been here for a very long time, or Sega Forever, or Sega Man, right? Dudes like us that kept it 100, right? That we never swayed away, even when times were rough, like when we were going through some droughts of heavy hitters or AAAs on Xbox, but we still got nice AA's and indie games to hold us over, right? That we appreciate Microsoft for what it was trying to do for us, even though they were trying to readjust and fix things and trying to buy new studios for the future to give us more games on a AAA quality level, right? So we never swayed away. We always said that Microsoft has always been doing the best they can, the right way, and that these things take time because, again, building a studio from scratch like the initiative is a way longer process than buying a studio that already existed for 20 semi years, like Sony has done with a lot of their companies, like Naughty Dog and Insomniac and Santa Monica, for example. These are studios that have been there, that have been existing. Sucker Punch, for example, for many, many years, that they didn't have to build from scratch. These companies were there for many years, and that's why they've been able to just sit back and produce games faster that are AAA quality, right? Based on their standards, and haven't had any real issues with that, right? As opposed to Microsoft, that had to find studios to be able to buy that were willing to be under the moniker and the same banter or the same banner, that were willing to work with them and be part of the ecosystem and the family. Very different. And then when they did buy these companies, right, a lot of these guys, like the people who did We Happy Few Compulsion games, right, like Double Fine, right, with Tim Schafer, with Psychonauts 2, like Obsidian, with companies like or games like Wasteland, right? They already had these these contracts making these games for other companies and other consoles and studios that they were under oath that they were supposed to do. And like I said before, you can buy out those contracts, but they'll be way more expensive because the people are going to be greedy. I'm like, no, we want way more money. So in this case, Microsoft opted to do what was the smartest thing and the right thing to do. They let them finish the project so that the games would come out for the other companies like they promised, right? And they also came out on Xbox. Just like Deathloop and Tokyo Ghostwire were exclusive for, I think, a year on PlayStation because they paid for that long ago, right? And these guys are acting like, oh my God, that these companies and studios, they have to do games tomorrow and have them done within a year when they just finished these games, literally, maybe a year ago or a couple of months ago. And game development, especially AAA game development, takes 4 to 5 years easily. You see? Doesn't matter which game it is, it takes 4 to 5 years easily to get a nice, great, polished AAA quality game. Now, if you wanted to make a smaller game like Streets of Rage, the arcade game, then yeah, it could take maybe a year or two, and even that takes long because Ori and Cuphead, as you guys saw, due to the nature of the complexity of the animation, or because it was so detailed and had so much orchestrated music that had to be involved, and all these other different, little reasons, even those games took a long time. Granted, there were smaller studios, yes, but they still took a long time because it all depends on the situation, right, and the scenario. Like Obsidian, they were going to close down. They didn't have enough employees. Not until they got hired by Microsoft that they didn't get enough help, enough money to bank in order to continue to make these projects and whatever else they're doing in the future, like a Valve. And then you got these Xbox guys that know these things, or that should know these things, like a Kid Smoove, or like a fucking King Thrash, that we all know he's fake, okay? And like even, let's say, Cole Eastwood, which is why I called them out before a couple years back, where I was saying, how is he getting to represent the community like he's this old school G player that knows all this stuff, all the history, has been, and is an ultra true gamer, right, for many years, when he barely knows gaming, right? And that he's speaking on our behalf for people that are real old school gamers like myself, for example, that really know the history, that really know a lot of the gaming, culture in a way bigger fashion than he does, right? And yet people are acting like he was the end all be all when he's not, right? And he doesn't, and he has all this following with people that give him support. He helped grow his channel, where his channel now sustains him and gives him enough income where he can continue to do certain things, and never really does nothing back for the community. He don't give back in any way, shape, or form. He don't give out games, controllers, maybe even a console giveaway, something of that nature. In any way, shape, or form. You never see it. But yet he still keeps getting all this opportunity that where he, representatives of Microsoft go to his channel, and all these people keep giving him views and subscribers. But he's got over I think it's 120 subscribers or something like that. I unfollowed them long ago, so I'm not sure. I haven't paid attention, but I believe last time I saw one of his videos pop up, that's what it said. And when I did that, everybody called me crazy. Everybody said I was a hater. Everybody said I was just mad because I didn't have that base. And I said, no. I just don't like the hypocrisy and the fact that this community really believes in somebody that's not a real, genuine Xbox fan. This guy didn't play games like Sunset or Quantum Break, for example, until they were on Game Pass. He didn't buy the game day and day and stood online like I did at that point, or picked it up the very next day of release and paid full price for them. No. He waited till they were on Game Pass to play them, to then say, oh, yes, I really, enjoy these games. They're great. Meanwhile, when anything Sony came out, like Spider-Man, I remember vividly. I know he did a video crackdown that he did do that he enjoyed the game. But I remember when, when everything else like Spider-Man or even God of War came out, they made sure they let people know that they bought it because they love games and that they were fantastic, and that Microsoft needed to have games like that, of that caliber and that stature, and that what are they doing when Microsoft had games of that stature and caliber for the first 3.5 years on Xbox before they had the drought, because they didn't have the developers internally that were making more games. Those were all from third-party deals like Rise, Recore, Sunset, Dead Rising 3, Quantum Break. Those were all third-party exclusives they had to buy in order to have games on the Xbox One, because they had no internal house studios yet. Not enough. They only had, Coalition, which does the Gears, Turn 10, which does the Forza, and then 343s, which does the Halo games, and then obviously the Mojang that did the Minecraft, which they bought because the actual owner sold it to them. He wanted them to buy it and keep it preserved because he knew they could, because they were financially stable, right? And even though they knew it was because they had no internal house, it was shit talking the whole time. Colt, Dealer, Randall Thor, they all did it, and I saw it, and I'm like, wait a second. They're Xbox fans. They know the real situation with Microsoft, but yet they're saying this dumb shit like they don't know any better, or like they're retarded or slow, and yet blaming Microsoft that they don't have enough games like Sony, when Sony was getting these other games from studios that they've owned for many, many years, that have been built and established for over 20 semi years. I was like, either they're trolling or they're really fucking disingenuous. And that's why I put 2 and 2 together, kept watching and seeing how they moved. And that's how we knew that they weren't real. And I called them out for that reason. Right? And nobody wanted to listen to me. Everybody was saying I was hating. Or even when Jazz Gordon would throw little stupid comments every once in a while, I'm like, dude, what? Talking about the Switch being the greatest thing ever and make Microsoft look like they're stupid when the Switch and Nintendo is not giving you nothing back and preserving nothing and give you no value for your dollar, right? And these are the things that these guys do, even though they're in the ambassador program. And the ambassador program is a program that's supposed to be there and is created for you to get perks and inside, access to certain things like upcoming events, demos, Game Pass demo games coming out, to promote the brand, to help the brand so people will get interested, to excite people that are not on Xbox to get excited, to want to go on Xbox, to try it out. That's the whole purpose of that program. And while you're doing that, they take care of you by doing nice things for you. Now, no one and nowhere in that thing it says, oh, you gotta be a robot shield, you can't talk negative about the brand or critique it and give it constructive criticism, which is very different than talking crap about a brand. You see? Even myself, I've done it, talked about certain moves and things they've done that they should have thought about it and reevaluated, because in my personal opinion as a fan, I think it's a wrong move, because these were things that would help them long term, even though it may not have looked that way at that moment. And I've said this, but that's constructive criticism, where you actually care for the brand because you want the brand to get better. And then these guys go on Twitter and social and YouTube and say, like Instagram, saying, oh, I'm doing this because I care about Xbox. Caring about Xbox is not saying something stupid like Kid Smoove said. I'm sorry, I like the guy. Always have respect for him. But he has some hot takes that don't make no sense because he should know better. He goes, oh, there's no point in Microsoft keeping the online service or even being on whatsoever because there's nothing to look forward to. Meaning like things like Game Pass, I guess, or whatever. How do you say something like that just because Starfield and Redfall was announced to be delayed when there were games that were never shown to begin with? They're just talking about what's been behind the scenes, conceptual art, what the idea is behind the game, and showed some CGI trailers with in-game graphic engines, supposedly, quote unquote. But you're supposed to say, well, if they actually delayed it, then thinking logically and as a real fan and constructively, there had to be a reason for it. It had to be for the betterment of the game, obviously, and there had to be that they have a contingency plan because they did announce that they're doing an Xbox showcase. So obviously something is probably in plan or in place to substitute for this year. Whether it's a Forza game from the Motorsport team, Turn 10, whether it's Hellblade 2, it's still up to grabs. We don't know. Or whether it's a smaller title that we didn't know of, right? The point is, they know why they did it, and they know that they had to do it so that it won't get backlash or scrutiny, because that's what happens in the gaming industry. It's very, very time-consuming, tedious, and it's very, it takes a lot from the workers, right? They have to work very strong, countless hours to do all this programming, bug fixes, animations, drawing in artwork, and creating these worlds. It's not easy. It's almost something that is like, I don't even know how they have the patience to do it, because that one scene, for example, I'll give you an example. I remember watching a documentary from the making of God of War 3, and that first boss fight that you fight, where the big creature in the mountain is made out of water, or that Hydra creature with the horses, and he's fighting them. Supposedly that scene alone took almost a year to create. 1 year. And it cost them, like, I think it was $3 million just to create that one scene. And that was for God of War, back in the PS3. So imagine these newer games that are way more sophisticated, running on way more higher technology, that are way bigger in scope, way more technically advanced in scope, with, way more budget involved. How much harder and daunting that task has to be to a developer. Developers must go crazy, have one of the worst jobs, because even though they're doing something they love, their fear in the back of their head is always going to be, am I making a game good enough and worthy enough that people are going to embrace and love? And you know how many games come out that are actually excellent and people still trash and say they're bad? Like I've always said and trashed Sony games and said they're boring, because a lot of them are. But I still appreciate the artwork, the designs, the hard work that went into it. And what I say most of the time is that they're good enough to play, they're serviceable, but they're not 10 out of 10 masterpieces like people try to make them out to seem. Because they have all this cutscenes and feel more like a movie, because those are not games. That's just, it feels like a movie. There's a very big difference and correlation between the two. I don't do it to bash the developer's work. Not at all. I do it to show an example of why I like or why I don't like it. And that doesn't change anybody's opinion, because some people love it, they still love it. And that's great. I don't have nothing against it, and I'm not hating those people for loving it. That's fine. But there's a difference between what I do when I say that and explain what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to bash it. I'm critiquing why I don't like it, as opposed to just hating it and saying, fuck you, this sucks. Unless it's in the case of Last of Us 2, where they're pushing all this political agenda shit, self-indulgent, all indulgent by Neil Druckmann, and when he tried to push that fucking, LGBT sexual shit within the game, subliminally and straightforward. okay, with all the stupidity that was going down, and plus disrespecting the main characters of the actual game. In that case, don't fuck you for disrespecting us as the fans. Because we made your game popular. We supported it. You see? That's different. But Microsoft did this, and you saw people like smoove say things like that. Okay? King Thrash, what he does is irrelevant. He makes rap videos trying to make fun of Xbox, saying they suck, and all kinds of other stupid shit on his podcast. His podcast is full of a bunch of thugs that act like they're from the hood. I'm from the hood. I live in the projects. You see me trying to act like I'm thug, and that don't mean that I'm keeping it real. I'm a fucking 100%. But I'm not going to act like a thug just because I think that if I don't do that, I'm not representing the hood or where I come from. There's a point in place and a time and place for everything. And you can act like you have some type of mentality and education and some type of fucking self-respect, just because, even if you come from the hood, as we call it, right? The urban streets, right? That doesn't matter. You can talk educated and act educated. There's no reason to act uneducated and talk like you a hood rat just because you from the hood. That's just ignorant. Period. And I've said that about King Thrash. Like, he wants to debate me for something that I know is stupid. And I know he's not going to understand and register because his whole point is to troll and still say that Xbox is garbage, even though you prove him wrong with whatever you say. You see? Because that's the type of person he is. So him getting kicked out is irrelevant. It's pointless. It's a waste of time because it just proves that he's just ignorant. And we know this. We know this, right? He never cared about the brand that way anyway. And so is it wrong? The point is it wrong that these guys are getting kicked out? I say no. It's great. Keep doing it. Keep kicking out everybody else. Everybody else that does it. Because even somebody, look, Colt, when he put up, there hasn't been no real exclusives other than Forza, Halo, and Gears since 2018. When that is a sack of crack of shit. That's a lie, Colt Eastwood. Just like Microsoft at that very point didn't even own any of the new studios, with the exception, I think, of the first 4, which was Ninja Theory had been announced already. Ninja Theory and Double Fine. No, not Double Fine. Compulsion Games, and that they make the initiative. And even then, I gotta go back. I don't even think that point that was even announced yet. That was announced like in 2019, 2020, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, you guys can correct me in the bottom below. It's not my intent. I just don't remember. But the point is that they were in the process of, changing and, upgrading and doing refinements to make the Xbox division better. Because I remember in 2018 was when Scalebound was supposed to come out. And that had gotten canceled because of what Platinum did. That they weren't doing their job, even though they got $100 million given to them to make the game. Even Colt said things like this, and I don't know if he's an ambassador or not, but if he is, why would Microsoft be okay with someone saying something that is such a fallacy, so ignorant and dumb, that they'll be like, you know what, this guy's helping our brand. Let's keep him here. No, it's not helping the brand. Why keep him here? That's the very reason why you gotta go. You got to go. Because if you can't rep the brand correctly, but you can do it for Nintendo and Sony, and then call yourself an Xbox guy, you're a fucking fraud. And that is the reality of what's going on. That real Xbox guys like Mr. 100, for example, or myself, or E-Rock, are calling out the frauds that we've been seeing since 2013, that people did not want to believe, and saying that we were crazy or that we were toxic when we weren't. We know a fraud. Real recognizes real. And we know real because we have the experience from being in the gaming community and space for so many years. So we know. We know a fraud when we see one. Even somebody like Randall Thor that got praised on the freaking Xbox freaking stage for getting 1 million gamer scores. Dude, just because you get 1 million gamer score on the 360 era doesn't mean that you are not fraudulent as far as saying that you're an Xbox fan. You may play Xbox, but you are a neutral that prefers Sony. And your actions say it all. Okay? Your actions say it all. By the shit you do. So those guys that are doing it, they get what they deserve. I'm 100% with them getting kicked out. And people like Rich Review Tech and Broken Game HD, you guys are nothing but ignorant dummies. Trying to get clickbait to your channel so that people go see it, which works because people are just stupid that follow you for whatever reason. Thinking that it's okay or that it's all right and that it's not okay, that you got to be a slave to Xbox. No, there's a difference between constructive criticism and actual hating on a brand, hurting it and making it look like they're trying to take advantage of the consumer when that's not it at all. How is delaying a game to make it better hurting a consumer or not caring about the consumer or the project? You saw what happened when they released Halo. They said Halo was going to be a play-as-you-go game for a lifespan, a plan of 10 years, so it would grow with time like Sea of Thieves and get better and better. And these motherfuckers haven't stopped ranting and talking shit. Oh, that Halo is too empty, that it don't have enough content, or that is trash, or that is this, or that is that. You see? Even though they were told up front, and they were transparent with them, and they told them up front that this was the plan, and this was what they wanted to do, this was what they would like to do with the game, to change the structure, to try something different for the Halo franchise, to reinvigorate it, and yet it was still a problem, or it's not good enough. I'm not saying for everybody. A lot of guys like Halo, but a lot of guys, you know, hate on it and try and bash it for no reason. And a lot of guys that bash it don't even play the game. They just talking based on what they see with people talking in the media and these articles, and they're just talking and don't even play the game. I've never touched the game. And the Halo campaign, for example, was great. I can't wait until the co-op mode come out so I can play that campaign again with a friend. I've always done that with Halo. Played it by myself, solo, and then played it with friends on Legendary. I've always done that. Always. So, again, it's a bunch of horse malarkey. And the ones that talk the loudest and the most usually are the ones that don't give two craps about Xbox and don't invest enough time on Xbox. You don't see these guys promoting games like The Gunk, Local Psycho, Crimson Dragon, Comic Jumper, Marlo Briggs, D4, any smaller title, like even Killer Instinct for that matter. Because these are games that are great, and because they're on a smaller scale, the narrative is, oh, they're not worth talking, they're not games because they're not AAA. What real gamer in their right mind says, I'm a real gamer, and doesn't include any game just because of the budget size or because it's not considered a AAA? No real gamer since I've been in the gaming space since 1979 would ever talk and think that way. None. Real gamers play games. No matter what budget, what size, we play games because they're good, they're fun, and we have good experiences with them. That is it. If you don't play games because of the budget, you are not a fucking gamer. Period. No questions, no argument. That's it. There's no argument. There's no question. You're not a gamer. If you only play wrestling games or football games or Flappy Bird or Fortnite, you are not a real hardcore gamer. You are a casual gamer that has no right to speak on anything gaming, especially what type of business moves a company like Microsoft makes, because you do not support the industry. You just play it to pass time whenever you want to have a time, free time on your own with one game or two games, and that's it. You are here in the space because it's an open space. Not because you actually care about the culture, not because you care about the actual community or what gaming has done as a whole in the entertainment space for people's lives and how it's changed people's lives, saved people from being in danger or going to jail or things of that nature. You don't care for the art form. You don't care for nothing. You're just there because it's an open source that anybody can try out. It's like me. I'm not a sneakerhead, but if I see some nice sneakers, I can go buy some nice sneakers. And then say, oh yeah, I'm a sneakerhead. I got these brand new kicks. Wrong. I'm not a sneakerhead. I just have the ability to go buy a sneaker because I have the money to buy any sneaker I see and then wear it and say I'm a sneakerhead. I like Jordan, so I'm a sneakerhead. No. Wrong. That's not how that works. And that's what I've been calling out since day one when I came on the scene, when I started seeing the hypocrisy. Because people try to act like I am not real when I'm the realest as it gets. And I've been calling it out so people can see, because I saw it for good reasons, not for bad reasons, not with any malicious intent. And I got called toxic. I got a cocaine head, a pedophile that I would take kids in my van and molest them, and all types of crazy shit. My family got attacked on Facebook because I left it open and didn't have it. I had it public and I didn't know. I have gotten memed up and down with a bunch of stupidity shit, being called grandpa, grandma. Yet they're not even on the skill of this grandma, grandpa. They can't even handle me. Okay, but yet they want to talk like, because I'm old, I got no skills. No, wrong. Wrong. Gaming is like riding a bike. You never forget it. And the more you do it, the better you get. Gaming is like a fine wine that the older it gets, the better it tastes. Sorry, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So, Xbox Ambassador Program, if you're purging people because they're acting hateful or ignorant instead of giving constructive criticism, like asking the community, questions of what can Xbox do to make this and things better for the future, so things like this wouldn't have to continue to happen, that's a completely different take. Those guys, they deserve to stay there, right? But, like maybe somebody like K-Meg, I can think of that. He's an ambassador because he said it himself. And even though he don't rock out with me, but he doesn't ever really bash Xbox. And when he criticizes, he does it in a positive way or in a constructive way where he wants it to do better, but not negating what they are doing and giving them credit for what they are trying to do. Okay, that's not ass kissing. That's being professional. That's being wise. That's actually showing that you care for a brand that you really want to grow. Not trolling and doing rap songs like Cream Trash does, saying how corny Xbox is, or doing stupid DRM videos like That's So Alex, talking about DRM when he clearly says he's a PC guy and he sounds like a hypocrite talking about DRM on a console when everything he has is DRM'd. That's trolling. That's not being constructive. It is not. I'm sorry, it's not. It is what it is. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't like the video. Share it with someone you think might like the video. As always, let me know what you think down in the comments below with this topic, and let me know your thoughts so we can have good gaming conversation. You can find me on social media on Twitter or on Instagram. My information will be down in the description below so I don't have to be long-winded. Just like you can find me on Xbox Live, Nintendo Switch, and the PSN Network, which I'll also have listed down below, and my Twitch channel when I stream, so you won't miss whenever I do a stream, which I did one not too long ago with Dawn of Monsters, thanks to my brother Smitty Smith. You guys, if you ever want to keep helping my channel in any way, shape, or form, you know how to do it with the kindness of your heart. If you have the means to, and because you want to help, because you like what I do, I'll tell you with the true honesty, it will help me go a long way. Anything will help. You can do it also with my information down in the description below with my PayPal and Patreon information. Or if you want to donate something to my channel because you want me to highlight it, review it, showcase it, it will be an honor for me to do so. It would be a pleasure for me to do so. Just hit me up on one of those DMs on social media so we can work out the particulars. Xbox for life, like a sickness that can't be cured. That's my saying. That's my slogan. Don't get triggered, people. It's all in gaming, and it's all in good fun. Guys, until the next one, I'll see you guys soon. God bless, and have a great day. See you then. Bye.